We'll treat you right. We'll treat you right.
All right, if you have a self-driving car, Matt Gibbs is here to talk to you about it. Or if you drive your own car, Matt Gibbs is here to talk to you about it. If you have any question about your car, Matt Gibbs is here. This is called Auto Repair with Personal Care. Matt is the owner of Sunrise Automotive, and he hates talking about those self-driving cars. And if you want to buy a car, Crossroad Auto Sales will eventually have for sale a self-driving car. Right now, I don't think you have one, do you? Good morning, Matt.
No, I don't have one.
See, I think when you get one, you're going to start to embrace the technology.
You know, I don't mind embracing the technology. The thing about it is that, you know, how many self-driving cars are we going to have here for a long time? You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, let's be relevant about what we have in Ocala today.
Yeah, 2005
but
Buick
self-driving
Rendezvous.
cars have been around for probably since the beginning of cars.
Just they couldn't go straight.
Well, no, you just have someone drive you around.
Oh, I thought you meant just the car.
A chauffeur.
Got lost, got out of control. Actually, that's all they would do is go straight, isn't it?
You know, I think it was one of my children. I can't remember which one it was, but I borrowed a limo from one of my buddies. He had his own it was a private limo, and I wanted to chauffeur my daughter and all her friends, right?
Nice.
So I asked him, you know, so I got that little hat and I just got all dressed up and took them all to Olive Garden is where they wanted to eat dinner, right? So I drop them off and I'm the chauffeur, right? So they're sitting at their table eating and I'm sitting at the little bar thing up at Olive Garden and got me something to eat too. And the lady sits there and says, "Do I know you?" I said, "I don't think so." She says, "You look just like this guy. I lived in Vegas, and you look just like the limo driver that I hired in Vegas."
Oh, that's too funny. Oh gosh, don't hate me for saying this. I used to think limos were the greatest thing. When I lived in New York, I'd see them, and to me it meant, oh my gosh, whoever's in there is either famous or successful. And then I changed everything about money and all that stuff, and I started thinking, no, the guy handing out roses on the corner is probably just as good of a person.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, I just lost touch with all that stuff, that status quo stuff, status symbol stuff.
Yeah. That's why I didn't rent one. I went and borrowed one.
Yeah.
You know, I figured.
But there was a beautiful story online about this special needs Down syndrome young man who couldn't get a date for the prom. And so one of the girls in the school said, you know, I'll go with you. And so a local TV station found out about it. Long story short, they got him a Rolls Royce to be chauffeured with, and it was a big deal. So and the Rolls Royce was a big deal, a big part of it to show up at school in a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, is a Rolls Royce and a Bentley the same car, by the way?
Yeah, made by the same company. Yeah.
Okay, why is a Rolls Royce considered the car?
Well, because they're handmade. I mean, they're literally handmade. I mean,
why does that make it better?
It's not that it's better. It's like, okay, like I'm a watch guy, you know. I love watches, collecting watches.
Yes, I remember that about you.
And I know he looks at my wrist and says, "Well, the boat ain't got no watch on."
No, because I remember you were going on a cruise, and part of your itinerary was to stop on one of the islands to get a watch.
Yeah, I didn't do that. I just couldn't spend the money.
How much was it?
The watch I was looking at, I looked at several watches. One of them, a lot of money.
10,000?
Oh, yeah, one was more than 10,000.
Gee, oh my gosh!
But
what time is it?
Yeah, exactly. And
time to get a new watch, right?
You know, but there's a reason why I've really come to really like Tag Heuer, and there's a reason why a Tag Heuer watch, it might be $3,000 for this watch, but it's going to do things that the $100 Fossil watch is not going to do.
John Travolta gets his Tag Heuer here in the mall.
Yeah.
Did you know that? Yeah. I've never seen them, but that's what they say.
Well, I really like tags. They're great timepieces, but there's a difference. And with the Rolls, there's the Rolls is kind of like the symbol of Rolex for watches, and then you have the symbol of Rolls Royce, and if you ever are interested, go online and do some research on how a Rolls is made. I mean, how it's assembled and how it's put together. It's a craft. These guys are talented. You know, it's not an assembly line of cars that get, we call it, licked and sticked and on down the line.
I'm trying to think, what could I make by hand that would impress you more than an assembly line? What could I could make something by hand, I'm sure.
I'm in the process right now, and Joey's up in Illinois going to school and stuff, and he started his own little company. And
he did?
Yeah.
What's his sell?
Well, him and another athlete, they're making these gloves that they, push themselves in their racing chairs with, and they're called hard gloves.
What do they call them?
They're called hard gloves.
Hard gloves.
And typically these gloves are made out of, the way I could describe it is, it looks like a dog chewy toy that has these holes in it you put your fingers through and push yourself into the chair.
Yeah.
Well, they went and bought a 3D printer, and then they scanned their hands, and they're making these different things. Well, they come out and they're rough looking. The 3D printer, there's all these lines. It's just rough. And I asked them to send me one, and I wanted to see if I could make it look better. And so, these are, they're made by a computer that generate this thing. This mold comes out, and then they start sanding it, filing it, and taking a Dremel tool and cleaning it.
Wow.
And all this kind of stuff. So, I've been experimenting for the last month or so with doing, working with something, creating something with our hands. You know what I'm saying? Of kind of like taking some time and actually doing craft work on it, and to make it really cool, and to make it look desirable, and make it look good, and make it very efficient. So
people will buy it.
It's cool when you get to do something with your hands, and I really appreciate guys out there that do stuff with wood. They have their little woodworking shop in their garage and stuff, and the things that they come up with it's just incredible. I love that mind.
Matt, there was a guy at the medieval fair that we went to up in Gainesville, and he made locks by hand. I mean, metal lock. He bent the metal, he cut the metal. Everything he did was to make a lock and a key, of course. He make locks and keys all by hand.
That's pretty cool.
Oh my gosh! And I was thinking, how long does it take to make one lock?
Right.
It just takes probably forever.
Right. Instead of it going down this conveyor belt in this machine and stamping them out and da-da-da.
Speaking of the 3D printers, when somebody has a car that has a part that is needed and the part is obsolete.
Okay.
There was a story. Oh my gosh! I wish we knew. I knew we were going to talk about this. I would have looked it up. But there was a story that said that some guys like yourself, auto engineers or whatever we're calling people now,
whatever
automobile, and they figured out a way. Okay, so let's say you got a Model T. I'll just pick something out because I don't know cars. So the Model T needs this gadget that makes the wheel turn the right way, and they don't make them anywhere. All you have to do is get a picture of it, and you could, as long as you know what you're doing, tell the computer to print one out. The 3D printer thing. And that's how they were fixing some of those old cars.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. That's.
But wouldn't the old cars have been made out of metal, not plastic, or is plastic as hard as metal in some cases?
Well, I think in some cases they are. But if you made it out of plastic, could you then make it?
Sorry.
Make it out of something other material, but have the plastic mold or whatever there, to.
The phone lines are open if you have a question about your car or kind of anything, because Matt talks about everything, and so do I. So we go down that rabbit hole together. The number is 622-9622 if you want to call Matt. And, of course, if you need your car repaired, you want to go to I'm sorry, to Sunrise Automotive. The number over there is 690-1993. We'll be right back.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. On this Tuesday, mostly sunny and pleasantly warm with a high of 81 near the coast, 88 inland. Clear to partly cloudy Tuesday night, low 55 inland, 64 along the coast. For Wednesday, partly sunny and warm, high 84 on the coast, approaching 90 inland. Or the same Thursday, sunshine, some clouds, and quite warm, high 83 on the coast, approaching 90 inland. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Joe Lundberg.
Hi, my name is Erica Olstein. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and oriental medicine. So, you used to be wired, now you're just tired. You used to be thin, but now you're the heaviest you've ever been. You don't necessarily always have to take a med if your thyroid is playing dead. If you have a thyroid disorder, an acupuncture visit may be in order. Come visit me, your primary care physician, Erica Olstein, at A Better You Healthcare. Call me at 352-615-5566.
What you may have missed on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Instagram is also good for real estate because it's searchable. So you can search for a hashtag like a city name or even a certain neighborhood and find a listing you may not have seen otherwise. Rooms with candlelight and soft music help people eat about 120 fewer calories per meal compared to eating somewhere bright and loud. Would you like to be more likable and considered great leadership material? Just use your hand gestures wisely.
Intelligence for your life on the John Tesh Radio Show. Don't miss this stuff.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
Gene Powell Pasture Mowing. Our tractor services include bush hog, disking, front end loader, box blade, and stump grinding. We also have zero-turn mowers for the smaller paddocks, aisleways, fence rows, and lawn care. Fence row spraying is also available for weed control. We are licensed and insured. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing, 352-629-2440, or online at powellgene, Gene, at yahoo.com. Gene Powell Pasture Mowing.
Leprechaun Soft Wash is the roof washing method that is safe and effective on shingles, tile, metal and shake roofs, vinyl, wood, aluminum, hardy board and stucco siding, driveways, pavers, and the list goes on. Leprechaun Soft Wash is fully insured and uses biodegradable cleaning products. Plus, Leprechaun Soft Wash offers a spot-free warranty on roof cleanings. Call 751-2325.
No more blimey roof stains with Leprechaun Soft Wash. 751-2325.
18 minutes after 10 o'clock, Matt Gibbs is here from Sunrise Automotive and Crossroad Auto Sales. And if you want to call Matt right now, the number is 622-9622. At a used car lot, how old is usually the newest car?
Oh, it really it depends on what
you could have one from 2016?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
2017.
Really? Somebody would trade it in
once that car, a lot of times people will buy a car. Let's say it's a rental car. It was an executive car. It was a program car. Program cars would be like General Motors. Like let's just say they have the golf tournament down at Disney, and Buick used to supply all the golfers a car to drive while they were at Disney. And then after the golf tournament, those cars are now available to sell. They cannot be sold as a new car. They're not new. Someone drove them. They're executive, or they used to call them brass hats. They were back in the day. It was a brass hat. We knew that car had been driven and it has some miles on it, but it's never been titled. But they still can't sell it as a new car. They have to sell it as a used car.
So is there a difference between the independent used car lot like yourself and the independent car lot that is part of a new car dealership?
Yeah, I mean there is differences and there is similarities. For instance, a good friend of mine wanted a new Nissan truck, and we went down to Ocoee to find him a truck, and I found him a current year model. No, it's a 1-year-old truck. So this was, let's just say it was in 2016. This was a 2015 Nissan truck, but it only had 175 miles on it.
Wow.
But I bought it as a used truck.
Sure.
You know, and sold it to him for a used truck, but it still had the full factory warranty behind it, and it really made him happy because the truck he was looking at to get, you know, was $65,000, and this truck he was able to buy for $35,000.
Wow, half price.
Half the price.
Wow, that's really good. All right, we do have a phone call. Good morning. You're on the air with Matt.
Yeah, Matt, I was just listening to your comments, and I did some research on Rolls Royce. I used to collect pictures of cars. But Rolls Royce, according to what I've studied, is a special car. They got special woods. All the wood on a Rolls Royce is real, and it's made out of one tree, out of one grain.
Wow.
And it's highly polished. And also the seats, they have a herd of cattle, and the seats, the leather in those seats, usually they've got them out of one cow, so that everything in there matches. Everything is handmade, and the parts are made out of special metals, so they are built to last. And it has like 10 or 12 coats of paint on there, you know, undercoat, then 3 or 4 undercoats, then it's polished out, then another coat, then a seal coat. So when you get a Rolls Royce, you're really getting a well-built, handmade car. Even the overhead fabric in there is like chamois skins, and not around plastic. I got a Cadillac, and this is the 5th one I've had. And my cousin used to be a chauffeur for Charlotte Davidson. He had an old fishtail Cadillac, 55, and that car was really something. Now my Cadillac I got today is like a Kia on a body. I mean, my hood is plastic. I didn't know that when I bought it. The plastic all over the thing, I guess that's to, you know, make it lighter so it get higher gas mileage. It's too low to the ground. The seats come apart in there. My steering wheel look like wood, but it's actually highly polished round. So it's really not comparable to a Rolls Royce. So when you get a Rolls Royce, it's, like you said, comparing a Timex to a Rolex, you're really getting quality. If that's what you want to pay for, that's what you get.
That's right.
Thanks for giving me this time, but you got an interesting show. Continue the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Well, that was interesting. Wow, the same cow, the same tree.
Yeah, that is true too. That is true. That's the difference of buying something for transportation, or you want something and you have the money to afford this something.
Yeah.
That is, it's crafted. It's handmade.
I never heard. Wow, that is amazing information. Good morning. You're on the air with Matt.
Yeah. Good morning, guys. Matt.
Morning.
Stay. Well, what is your take on these additives for your gasoline that services your fuel pump and other stuff? Is that a waste of money, or do you recommend that?
It depends on what you're trying to accomplish, I guess. If you're just wanting to put something in there as a lubricant, if you're having issues, if there's a problem, if you're having drivability issues, check engine lights on, something's not right, it doesn't feel right, so it's surging. Going down and typically buying that bottle of miracle working stuff isn't gonna help. But there are some products out there that are good to put in your fuel system. There's products out there that's good to put in your oil system, in your transmission system, in your rear end system. There are additives that do add, a barrier of protection that you can buy. But to fix something, if there's something wrong and you need to fix it, and you add a chemical, I've never seen a chemical fix a problem. And so, but there are things out there. I use the Schaefer's Moly additive in my engine. Every time I change the oil, I put a bottle of Moly in it. Now, I haven't never said, okay, I feel like tearing my engine apart and looking at wear and looking at, the different things. It's just something I like. I see what the product does when we test it and how it performs. So it gives me a little bit of, I get a little bit of comfort just by putting this Molly in all my vehicles. So,
as far as caring for your fuel pump and that, do you recommend once or twice a year of adding that, or just not doing anything?
Not necessarily. For me, it's not necessarily for my fuel pump. I might put some fuel additive in to help reduce some of the carbon buildup and stuff like that happens on the backside of the valves and in the combustion chambers of the motor and stuff like that. And also they have redesigned a lot of the injectors today. Back in the day, in the mid 80s, when the injectors first started coming out for multi-port fuel injection, they were having some issues with the injectors plugging up with carbon and stuff like that. But now that the way that they've designed them, they spin and turn as they pulsate, so it helps keep them a lot cleaner and stuff. But as far as just for the fuel pump issue, now, there's really nothing out there I would want to put in my gas tank to protect my fuel pump. The fuel pump is nothing more than a vane pump. It's just like the same type of pump that runs your windshield washers. And it's an electric pump. When it decides it needs to stop working, it stops working, and you put another one in there. And I just don't see the what chemical I'd put out there to protect that particular one device. I'd rather protect the engine.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. If the liquid doesn't go through it, then how could the liquid help it, I guess?
Well, the liquid is actually what you want to kill a fuel pump, run out of gas. And try to keep starting and make that thing just run and run and run. The actual fuel in your tank is what keeps it cool and keeps it lubricated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So,
oh my gosh!
It's like your windshield washer. To drain all your windshield washer fluid out and just keep running that pump and see how long it lasts. It won't last all that long. Once that sucker gets hot, it's done.
Well, that's good to know. Not that I've ever done it. You know what I did do though? Did I tell you this? I was making hard-boiled eggs, and I didn't have a timer, so I used the microwave. Did I tell you this?
No.
I hit the microwave 5 minutes with nothing in it, and the microwave died? I mean, totally died. And then I looked it up on Google. What happens if you run a microwave with nothing in it? And it said it will literally melt the components.
Yeah.
So I killed my microwave.
Yeah, that stuff's got to go somewhere. Those microwaves have to go somewhere.
I didn't know.
That's like spark, most people probably realize that, you have a spark plug, so you have to have a spark that goes to your spark plug.
Right.
And that spark, that electric arc that fires that cylinder, it doesn't go to it. There is no ground to a spark plug. It grounds within itself. It's weird how it works, and that's how, like a lot of these new cars that have coils, individual coils for each individual cylinder. We have there's a common thing out there with coils going bad. I don't care what kind of car it is. It seems to me like the GM cars are a little bit more reliable and efficient than a lot of the other cars. But it's amazing what happens if that spark plug can't spark and that coil is shooting out a spark.
Right.
Where does that voltage go to?
Oh yeah, right.
And it's just amazing how thinking and the way you got to process.
So if you have a burned out spark plug, does damage happen elsewhere in the car? Because
it could affect it could affect the coil. It can go all the way back into the computer itself.
That's not good.
No, well, it's.
So how do you know? I mean,
you'll know. You'll know. You'll be the first to know.
I mean, will I be calling the tow truck?
Well, you could be calling the tow truck. We have a car down at shop right now that two of the coils shorted out and caused the computer to short out. And they had to call the tow truck to come get it in Orlando and bring it to me.
Oh my gosh! So that's where I would bring it. to you. If you have a problem with your car, go to Sunrise Automotive. The address is 1800 Northwest 10th Street. That's also the address for Crossroad Auto Sales, which is where I got the Buick that I drive now. The Rendezvous. The Hybrid.
You don't have no hybrid.
SUV. I thought that's what you called it.
No, crossover.
Oh, crossover.
Not a hybrid.
I don't know what the difference. All right.
You just drive, Larry. You just drive.
Thank you, Matt.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The president taking steps to take apart some of his predecessors' plans for the environment.
In a move aimed at boosting domestic energy production, President Trump will issue an executive order that will suspend, rescind, or flag for review former President Obama's